today I want to talk about value scales in watercolor, meaning being able to take any one of these colors and paint from the lightest shade to the darkest shade, not adding any other colors, white, black. We're not creating tints and tones and shades right now. We just want to get the value of what each individual color can do. Now every pigment will also act differently. For this practice, I suggest you go with a darker color. Don't try to use yellow or even orange. It's going to be very frustrating. So pick purple, brown, green, blue, something darker. All right, I've already been playing and working here, so my things are a little muddy. That's okay. This looks very dark. It's still thin enough to rinse my brushes in. That's just fine. All right. Now what I did is I chose one of the greens over here and I mixed up a nice pool of color, and I haven't tested it on my practice paper yet. So I'm going to test it out. Okay, not bad. I think I still want to go a little heavier, a little darker. So I'm going to, not dip it back in there. I'm going to use the moisture here to go back in. And you gotta be a little aggressive with it, I'm discovering. And it takes some time to mix up the colors you want with these cake pans. And so you just gotta kind of really dig some of that paint out with your brush. Don't be shy about it. Okay, now there's a limit to how dark you can get before it becomes so thick it doesn't look like watercolor. Okay, and that's about as dark as you can go with this color before it starts to be too thick. Maybe a little bit more. And it's rattling because I didn't fix this one. I fixed the other. I do not like that rattling. If that bothers you guys, remember, use those glue dots to hold everything down in place. Okay. Still need more. You can see it's going to take some time, and that's okay. Once we all get more used to this, I'm not used to it either, it'll be a lot faster and easier. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start painting the darkest color first. I just find it's easier that way personally. All right, so I've loaded my brush. And I'm going to try and do a nice even stroke of that deep color. And if it starts to run thin, I'm going to go back in and dip my brush back in. Okay, and it's a challenge to get like a really dark color you're happy with. Sometimes it's going to take some practice. I don't like how this is pulling and beading along the edge, so I'm going to soak up some of that extra. All right. Okay, this isn't a lesson right now on getting a perfect flat wash, so don't worry about some streaking and some pulling. That's not the point for today. All right, but that is about as deep and dark as that pigment's going to go. And you can see, I can still see the paper coming through. That's good. All right, now I'm going to go a shade lighter. So all I'm going to do is tap my brush into the clean water, test it over here. Okay, that was a little too thin, a little too much water. So I'm going to go pick up some of the pigment I already mixed, add it to my little bit thinner paint. That should be a nice lighter shade. Now I need a little more water. You can see how this takes some practice, some time of going back and forth trying to figure out what's going to work. That is okay. Okay, there, happy with that. And I have so much extra paper on here, I could be using the paper as the practice. We'll do that for the future. All right, now, again, making sure I have a loaded brush so it doesn't run out. I'm gonna paint a nice strip just like that. Ooh, I like that. That turned out really well. All right, going lighter yet. Adding some more water. Practice first. Need more water. Just a little bit. Okay, that's good. Nope, nope, tiny bit more. Okay. Now, you'll notice I keep kind of lifting up my paper, and normally when you're painting nice things, don't set your palette on top of your paper, but this is just practice, so it doesn't matter right now. All right, I like to have my paper on a board that I can manipulate and I can lift, so if I want to tape it down so it stays flat and doesn't buckle, I will put it on a piece of cardboard or a big clipboard, and that way I can lift this when I want to, because there's going to be times where we want to have it at an angle so that the paint will run down. And I'm just used to painting that way. I'm always lifting, so you'll see me do that a lot in these demos. All right, so I got my lighter color now, my lightest yet. And now it's gonna dry a little lighter than that, but I can go even lighter. So let's do it again. Add some more water. And because this is the width of my brush, I don't even need to draw another line. I'll just paint. Okay, in fact, if you want to skip the drawing, you could just, now I'm realizing there's probably no need really for you to draw these. All right, and I need to practice getting even lighter than that. Still not happy with it. Okay. And you can see this just takes trial and error. Ooh, there we go. Now, can I get even lighter without it turning to just a puddle of water? All right, let's try. It's about the same. Do more water. Okay, now I gotta make sure there's not too much paint on there. All right, and that's probably about as light. Yeah, those all look about the same. Looks like that's about as light as you can get that without it turning to a big watery mess. Let's see what happens if I add way too much water. Okay, you'll see the difference. And I was seeing this a lot in class the other day. It was just so much water and very little paint. And then you see what kind of problems you run into. We talked about that before. It's going to be very thin in some areas, but very puddly, and it looks darker at first, but it's not going to dry that way. It's going to dry really funky. We don't want that.